did we start with cover crops? I've known about cover crops, 20, 30 years or more, but there weren't too many people doing it. You hear about the people that were doing it 30 years ago today, and they're more at the forefront. They are the ones that started throwing in more mixes. Dave Brandt in Ohio, Gabe Brown in North Dakota with the mixes. I have done some mixes. I want to do some more mixes, but what might work in North Dakota not necessarily is going to work here, so we have to go in this a little bit at a time. And David Brandt over there, he puts his cover crops. He has wheat in his rotation, so he can get a head start on the rest of us. It's just totally soybeans and corn, whereas he can get his cover crops in early, get more growth in the fall, and speed things up a little quicker than us. But cover crops and no-till just go together. They're synergistic. They're both better together than one either or by themselves. And in my feeling, and my main focus on it, I know how much in the past of what I've done, the soil health benefit. I actually, probably 20 years ago, I tested many of our fields for soil health with a formicin test, which basically gives a CO2 reading, and it gives you a baseline at where you want to go. And it gives you a number, and what I used for a baseline was I went out and took soil samples, specifically in 1995, in a fence row of, quote, virgin soil, and got the formicin reading for that, which was 1100. Okay, it's a number. And then I go out and took soil samples in the fields, and what I was doing, and compared ours to the neighbors, behind manure, to another place, to another place, to another place. And some places where I sent it in and got a formicin level, they call back and say, well, where did you get this from this farm? And I told him, they said, well, that's the third worst soil we've ever seen in our lives. And I said, so what were the other two? And he says, one was from Saudi Arabia, and another one was from a toxic waste dump in Pennsylvania, and you are now number 3. Well, I won't go into details of why it was that way, but that's where I'm coming from. My logic was that the fence rows always produce better crops. When you take one out, that corn's 35 bushel better than anything else, and the yield monitors show it every year, and you can visibly see it. So why don't we want our fields to produce again like the fence rows? Well, the fence rows are growing 24/7, 365 days a year. So why not do the same things to our field? We need them covered all the time, in my opinion, and it's the only way we're going to crank up the biology, the organic matter, and no-till will work so much better doing that. So I'm in it for the soil health aspects, and it's dated back to 1995 with that, I called it the fence row theory of soil fertility at that time, where I actually measured the soil microbial activity.